Hi there, I'm Diego, and this is Betty. Welcome to Casa Mojanda, all of you.
The flight from New York to Quito landed at night. Candy and I went straight to Casa Mojanda and arrived in the mysterious darkness. But we awoke refreshed to a glorious landscape which immediately said to us, South America. Casa Mojanda is located in the Andes Mountains above the town of Otavalo. It was built in the mid-1990s using ancient rammed earth construction. The first thing we did was have a look around in the thin, fresh air, acquainting ourselves with the unusual sights and sounds. People started showing up, so we went inside looking for our breakfast. All the walls in all the rooms of Casa Mojanda are adorned with fine art. The sculpture, paintings, wall hangings are all chosen by Betty and Diego, who have fabulous taste. And the guests are also select. Here's a group of doctors, nurses, and paramedics from the Rural Health Alliance of Berkeley, California, who are staying at Casa Mojanda while volunteering their services. Heather, one of the managers during our visit, gave us a tour.
This is our organic garden. The idea of Casa Mojanda is to try and be self-sustainable as much as possible. And a big part of that is being self-sustainable in our food production. So this is our library. A natural amphitheater. The hobby room. 350-400 movies.
We met Tommy the llama, who was so young he thought he was one of the dogs. Or one with the earth. Or perhaps one of the llamas. He was confused. What are you eating? Hey! Are you a goat? No. No! We continued the tour with Diego. Casa Mojanda's rooms are comfortably furnished and welcoming. They feel like home. The doctors and nurses went horseback riding, while Betty and her daughter Sophia took us for a walk down to Otavalo. Another good walk is to the local waterfall, which is on the grand scale of everything in the Andes. Notice our matching Casa Mojanda sweatshirts. After a day of acclimating to the altitude, there's nothing better than relaxing in a hot tub and watching the sunset before dinner. After a short nap, we were ready for the nighttime activity, which began with a pie eating contest to celebrate the end of the volunteer work.
Get set! Go!
Diego and Betty invited a local band named Yunyani, which is Quechua for love, and we ended up dancing for hours. Gracias. We awoke a little late the next morning to a view of the 15,000-foot volcano, Cotacachi. Still acclimating to the altitude, we took an unguided walk down another road toward Otavalo. This is the 16,000-foot volcano, Imbabura. When we sat down to rest, a local girl came over and asked to examine my camcorder. ¿Cómo se llama?
Yolanda.
Hola. After lunch, we were ready to ride. Candy hadn't ridden much and wanted to go slow. The horses were so well behaved I could almost shoot video while galloping. Candy taped me, indulging my preference for speed.
You want me to get you doing that?
Yeah, take it up.
Come on,
I don't think so.
But she relented and galloped for the first time ever. We both agreed that the spectacular landscape and the great horses had made it the best riding we had ever done. After riding, back in the hot tub, another beautiful sunset and one of Casa Mojanda's gourmet vegetarian dinners. And finally, a late-night family movie. One of Betty's favorite animations, Disney's Three Caballeros.
Now, easy, easy. Got him.
A must-see when you are at Casa Mojanda is the Saturday Otavalo Animal, Craft, and Food Markets. First, Betty brought us to the early morning animal market. All kinds of farm animals are traded.
Vamos a ver, dale, dale a la patrona.
After a rooftop lunch, we dove back in to shop at the famous Otavalo Craft and Food Market, which fills the entire town.
Chavo, los chocolates a 10 centavos.
Although Candy always enjoys shopping, I usually don't, but here I bought an entire wardrobe.
No stopping, Candy.
Shopping is fun.
I'll get this next week.
You like that?
I love that.
What are you going to stir with it?
Oh, and
You're going to stir up some trouble. Some big trouble. Nice bowls.
La palita de chavo, 10 centavos.
Rodrigo Mora and his schoolteacher guide Jorge give tours of the artisan villages around Otavalo. They take you into the home factories where the handmade goods are produced. They do this to create a personal connection between the small-scale artisans and the tourists who ultimately buy their products in the market. As much fun as learning about the crafts was meeting the Otavaleños.
Danzante mujer.
At the end of the tour, Rodrigo took us to a late-arriving maker of unusual baskets, whose factory was a bamboo mat.
Ahora mire, este finito, ¿no?
The fascinating tour ended, like most things in Ecuador, with local music. Nearby are the spectacular Lagunas de Mojanda. We drove up there for a picnic.
Ciao. Fresh baked cookies are sure delicious.
That night we were treated to a delicious trout dinner prepared lovingly by Violanda and Petrona. We joined a new group of guests who were going club dancing in Otavalo at the Peña La Hampa. In Ecuador, they interrupt the rock and roll for indigenous dancers. We danced into the wee hours of the Latin American morning. The indigenous and local people of Otavalo are hardworking and industrious. Betty and Diego created a foundation to help them by organizing volunteer teachers and doctors and by contributing their own time and energy to community projects. When you stay at Casa Mojanda, you are adding to what they can give. That's one reason why Casa Mojanda can call itself an eco-resort. It doesn't deplete the local resources, it has become one.
We try to offer travelers something that places a minimum impact on the natural environment and promotes community initiatives in areas that are important like health and education and conservation. We kind of view our work in travel as part of a bigger concept where travelers become engaged on an intellectual level, on a social level, and in some way become part of a process that's positive and transformative for the individual and for the communities.
Marcela. Marcela is a nurse from the Mojandita Health Center.
Marcela gave us a tour of the health center.
This is the pharmacy.
Dentistry.
This is just being set up now.
This was a special midsummer party for one of the teachers. Otra vez. This is the Betty Sachs Kindergarten.
Mojanda Kindergarten. This is what we did this year. Put up curtains, we painted.
Todos los niños aquí son muy felices, todos los días vienen con alegría.
Qué bonita. Later that day, I helped round up the horses for another spectacular 2-hour ride. The next day we returned to 14,000-foot Fuya Fuya with Paco as our guide to live out a dream. Once more to the lagunas, but now we will walk to the top. Once the area's tallest volcano, Mojanda long ago blew its top and now has lakes in the crater. From its slopes you can see most of Ecuador. Puedo.
Podemos.
Es todo. Fin.
This is gravity.
That's the crater. Yeah. We have arrived for Fuya Fuya. Yeah. You're strong. I felt like I could stay forever at Casa Mojanda with its wonderful staff,
Heather.
Betty.
Soledad. Yolanda. Marta.
Felice. Armando.
Paco.
Diego.
Gustavo, and Petrona. Say queso.
Eso.